needs to tell us.
Yeah, because I remember he just broke a lot of the ethics, if you want to call it the ethics laws. Not supposed, if I'm correct, when a police officer pulls a motorist over, he's not supposed to be judgmental. He's not supposed to be arrogant. He's not supposed to, you know, basically, he was just basically
I like
took
people,
everything out of it.
I like people to be treated like human beings, and by the same token to be treated the way we're being treated. So
Okay.
that's pretty much what we can tell you. But thanks for your call. I appreciate
Thanks a lot.
it. Alrighty.
Bye.
Take one more here. Whoops.
I'm on the phone.
Hi. I know you're on the phone. You're talking to me. How are you?
Hi.
I'm sorry, you had a question.
Yeah, my name's Pete. I parked my car in the school parking lot, and they keep putting this sticker on there, and they try towing me. And I'm like, you know, the sticker, first of all, it blocks my view. I couldn't even drive home.
What kind of sticker?
It's a big violation sticker, big red sticker, and it says you have violated parking because you have to go for the permit. And I work after school.
What? Okay. Pete, do me a favor. What school are we talking about?
Jackson.
Okay. And who's putting the stickers on there?
Security.
Which are actually employees of the school?
Yeah.
Okay. And I guess in lieu of giving you a summons, they put some kind of warning sticker that's...
They put a sticker on it, and you can't even peel it off.
Oh, and you can't peel it off? That's not fair.
Not nice. Not nice of them.
And I'm not laughing at you. It's just why somebody would do something like that. I mean, we do have, the reason I was asking you is we have what they call police tow stickers. For instance, in Ocean Township, that if it's a car's like abandoned and we're not sure exactly who belongs to it, we may put this sticker on actually the side window that says in 24 hours or something it's going to be towed if it isn't removed. That makes sense that you wouldn't want that thing to come off too easily. But something that's just a warning, it would seem to me, would be a little bit more reasonable to put it on a piece of paper and stick it under your windshield wiper or something, so at least you can take it off. Have you talked to anybody at the school about that?
Yeah, they just give you the runaround. They don't really answer your questions. They say they're allowed to do it. So if I park in the woods, and I have to go across the street, and everything gets on my car.
Well, let me ask you this, Keith or Pete. Did you ever have you talked to the police department about it?
Nah. I talked to the school.
All right. Honestly, talk to the police department. Maybe there's some kind of regulation or something that's going on there with the school that, and if they're doing something that's doing theoretically, even though it's not lasting damage, but some type of damage to your vehicle, maybe they can talk to the folks in the school and kind of say, you know, let's get reasonable and let's try something a little bit different. It may work.
Yeah, that's good. I like Jackson cops.
All righty.
Yeah.
Thanks for calling.
Thanks a lot.
Okay, now, are we going to a break? Okay, let's take a short break, and we'll be back in a minute. Listen, this is a good time for you to go to the Refrigedizer and get a glass of soda or something, and come back and visit with us. Don't forget, we're live here, 681-3331, and me and my guests will be back in 1 minute.
Why don't you come up here, Pumpkin?
What are you doing, Larry?
Well, Vince, I've asked my pumpkin to sit on my lap to prove a point.
And what is that, your Larryness?
Even if we fasten our safety belts, even if you hold on tight, even if you were watching the road, in a crash, your pumpkin will be nothing but a squash.
You could learn a lot from a dummy. Use child safety seats.
We love that little pumpkin to pieces.
The adventures of Nick, a teen. On his way to school each day, unlike the other passengers, Nick was constantly being encouraged to stick his head out the window. And in gym class...
We want Norman.
That Norman kid must be a lot better ball player than he lets on.
Poor Nick.
Mercy.
Man, what a drag.
Don't be a butthead.
Hi, we're back. Are you? Okay. Listen, we've been talking to the chiefs and Jack Hill, and we're talking about traffic matters, and we kind of got off into community policing a little bit, but that's okay. Because next thing we're going to talk about is there's chiefs associations where all the chiefs get together, kind of like the Wizard of Oz. Weren't they going there? And they get together and they talk about they talk about issues that are important to us. And Jack belongs to the Traffic Officers Association, which does a similar type of activity with matters of traffic enforcement. And before I ask Jack to explain a little bit about the traffic enforcement officers, I got to say something, because we've done a lot of shows on a lot of different things here on NJ Law and a lot of different subjects, and probably one of the things that gets the most response from you, probably because it's on your mind, is traffic. And that's because everybody drives, everybody has a car, everybody has to move from one point to another, and unfortunately we probably lose a lot more lives and have a lot more injuries to that than probably all the other crimes combined, which I'm sure Jack would be able to elaborate on. So I feel that we should probably put more effort into the area of not just traffic enforcement, but traffic safety and education, and that might be one of the aims of the Traffic Officers Association. Did I get close?
You're absolutely correct.
I've been listening when the other guys were on.
The Monmouth County Traffic Officers Association is, well, I don't know if everybody knows this, but there's 52 police departments in Monmouth County. And each one of those police departments usually has an officer assigned as the resident expert on traffic matters, somebody they can go to, the citizens can go to, and they can get their answers to questions about traffic laws, or putting a stop sign up, or putting a turn signal on a red light. The Traffic Officers Association is a group of those individuals. The departments send them to these meetings. And what it is an association where you can exchange ideas. You know, we're not unique on this planet. If Belmar's having a problem, Spring Lake Heights is having the same problem, or maybe Interlaken has already had that problem and worked out a solution to it. So we don't go around reinventing the wheel all the time. The object of it is to get some sort of consistency in what we do, so citizens don't go from one town to the next and get confused about traffic laws. The association is also the primary reason for it is to promote traffic safety through education, through awareness, and through enforcement programs. The education and awareness, we do a variety of things. Lately, we've been very closely associated with the Monmouth County Police Chiefs Association in several projects. One of the projects is one of the reasons for us being here tonight is the what I like to call the Violation of the Month Club. Another project we've been doing is we've been trying to form a serious collision analysis team to investigate fatal motor vehicle accidents that occur in the county, which last year we were second in the state in Monmouth County with 74 deaths attributed to 68 motor vehicle accidents. So these are projects that we're working on, and DWI enforcement, DWI awareness. Again, Chief Henderson's very involved with the DWI strike force. Chief Todd is the police chief's representative to the association. So we're trying to maintain those liaisons and trying to get a coordinated effort down for education, awareness, and enforcement.
Well, let me jump right over to Bob or Vern. You guys are in the same seat. Just
the hot seat, right?
The hot seat. What is obviously the chiefs of police realize the importance of that traffic safety, education, and enforcement arm of what police officers do, which is a good portion of their job. What have we been coming up with?
Well, one program, as Jack mentioned, is the Target Motor Vehicle Violation, which is a new program that will be starting on the 15th of May, and police departments throughout Monmouth County will be enforcing all motor vehicle violations, but there will be a target violation that we pay particular attention to each month. The first month, which will actually be 6 weeks, will run from May 15th until June 30th, will be the enforcement of traffic lights, stop signs, and yield intersections. I'm sure there's probably isn't anyone watching that hasn't sat at a traffic light when someone's blown through it in front of them on a red light, and I'm sure they've waved their hands, screamed a few things, and so forth. But we're hoping that this, by having the target violation, we're hoping we make the public more aware of the fact that we're out there and we're targeting certain things, that we realize these are important violations, serious violations, that aside from the potential of costing someone their life, it's a tremendous amount of property damage and injury.
Bob, how did this come about, this particular summons at a month deal? Or
Well, Chief Frank Tembrock from Allenhurst, he, at the convention, the Chiefs Convention in Miami this past year, he went to a seminar and they brought this up that some of the other departments in the country were doing it. And that was to help reduce the accident rate and also, of course, the injury rate combined with it too. And each one of these violations are being targeted are basically violations that can cause accidents and can cause injuries. Each month we're going to have a different violation. It's going to be advertised, hopefully also here at the station also and in the newspapers. And so everybody will be aware of what the violations are. Hopefully they'll become a little more cognizant of the fact that they might be doing something illegal or dangerous and at this point stop prior to getting stopped for a summons or whatever. And I have the schedule here if you want the...
Maybe give us an idea of what types of summonses we'll be dealing with, or I'm sorry,
not summonses,
violations
will be targeted. We already talked about the May 15th through June 30th, which is the traffic light, the stop sign, and the yield intersections. In July, because a lot more people are out on the streets, we're going to do the pedestrian and bicycle violations. We hope some of the communities also will have a bicycle safety program for the children, possibly registering their bikes and also learning the proper riding procedures. In August, it's going to be speeding violations. In September, will be school bus safety, vehicle inspection, and vehicle registration. Inspection stickers, unregistered vehicles. In October, there will be equipment violations, headlights, taillights, turn signals, mufflers, and also that will also probably include the use of turn signals because sometimes people fail to use them. I'm sure everybody's gotten a little perturbed with that. In November will be child safety restraints and seat belts, making sure children are in car seats, approved car seats in the car, and also that the seat belts are in use. And in December will be DWI enforcement for somebody that will have a little too much and shouldn't be operating the vehicle, which is a very serious violation.
Well, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, basically starting in May so we could cover the Memorial Day weekend. Also, DWI patrols will be on the road from Friday, May 24th through midnight Monday, May 27th throughout Monmouth and Ocean County.
And that's a combined project with the Office of Highway Traffic Safety to target DWI violators during the holiday period.
And that makes all the sense in the world. How are we doing, Vern, in Monmouth County with DWI enforcement?
Well, last year there were 2,344 arrests for driving while intoxicated in Monmouth County. The average age, or the bulk of those arrests, were people in the age bracket of 23 to 35, which isn't all surprising. The surprising or disappointing fact is that there were 176 arrests for driving while intoxicated for people under the age of 21, which is below the legal drinking age. We have, as you know, we have the Monmouth County DWI Strike Force. I'm the director of that. That's funded through the Monmouth County Prosecutor's Office. Prosecutor Kay has been instrumental in keeping that program alive for the last 12 or 13 years. It started on a funded project through the Office of Highway Safety, and when the funds ended from that office, the prosecutor's office picked it up. And it has been, the roadblock system that we use has been in effect now for about 13 years. And it has made an impact. We're seeing that most of the DWI arrests that we're seeing now are far lower levels of intoxication than what it was 10 to 15 years ago, which means there is an impact.
Which makes all sense in the world. You know what, I just want to talk to a couple of these callers here, if it's okay. Is that you, Smokey?
Yes, sir. How you doing?
Good. How you doing?
All right. Quick question.
Sure.
Don't mean to jump off the subject, but question regarding motorcycles. I understand the legislators legislation in New Jersey's trying to pass the law for no helmet law in New Jersey, just like California. I wonder what the status it is as of today.
I think that's still in abeyance. I don't think it's been passed.
Okay.
You know, from a law enforcement standpoint, a guy that routinely investigates traffic accidents, it makes no sense in a state where we mandate that children wear bicycle helmets that we let people on motorcycles ride without helmets. You know, I don't know where that legislation came from. I know the Division of Highway Traffic Safety is, and most of the traffic officers associations in the state are petitioning to kill that legislation because it just doesn't make any sense from a safety standpoint.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for your call, Smokey.
Thanks.
I think we got Bob here. Bob?
Yep.
Good. How are you?
Oh, pretty good. My question is on the right turn on red.
Okay.
More and more, I run all over the state, and people come up to a red light, and they look, and they see just enough room, and they pull right out in front of you. Now, is that a right turn on red? The way I always understood it was you stopped, and if there was nothing coming, then you could make a right on red.
Good point. You're right. And Jack, do you want to embellish a little on that?
So the right turn on red statute, which is 394115B, that requires that if it's not posted, in other words, it has to be posted that a right turn on red is prohibited. You still have to stop for the red light, and you have to yield to any traffic on the cross street. So you have to stop and look, and then proceed to your turn if it's safe to go. You just can't, and that's a complete stop. That's not what I like to term a California stop. It's a
woman stop.
A California stop. That's where you just tap the brakes to put the lights on.
Right.
Okay, so you have to make a complete stop, look for traffic, have your signal on, and then execute the turn, if it's not prohibited by a sign.
But these places that have no sign, which would be okay to make a right on red, these people pull up to it, stop, and if they see that they got 2 car lengths, they can make it, they'll pull right out in front of you.
Right.
Is that actually running a red light, or that is legal?
Well, it's legal to make the turn, but they are still, if they cause that other vehicle to brake or something of that nature where the other vehicle had to take evasive action, they would be failing to yield to the other vehicle, and which would constitute a violation of a careless driving clause of the statutes, because you're not operating with due care or circumspection. You just can't jump in front of another vehicle.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Yeah, Bob, also, a lot of people don't realize it, but the stop sign statute, for instance, where somebody does come to a complete stop and then they cause, as Jack said, there's actually kind of 2 parts to the statute, and I guess we usually term it, well, we wrote the summons for the second part of the statute, which says once you stop, then you have to yield to the oncoming traffic, make sure the way's clear, et cetera, et cetera. So there is a violation there, and if you know a particular place that's going on a lot, usually, like our place, people call our traffic division all the time and say, you know, hey, this particular street seems like people are really whipping down the street, and we put guys out there running radar for a while to see if there's a problem and try to do some enforcement there. So if you do know, like in your area where some of that's happening, they'll probably put somebody out there to check it out and see if they need to do some enforcement.
Okay.
All right. Thanks for your call. I appreciate you watching.
Okay.
I think we got, whoops. Mike?
Hi, how you doing?
Not too bad.
All right. Yeah, I just have a question about one night I was on a public payphone, and it was about 2 in the morning. I was calling my girlfriend, and a couple cops came and they told me, you know, I shouldn't be on the phone. They just searched me and they asked me all sorts of questions and stuff. And you know, I was just on the phone like any normal citizen, just making a phone call. And he asked me if I had a phone. And he suggested for me to go home and use the phone. I wasn't doing nothing wrong.
What kind of area was this?
Oh, Jackson Township.
No, like a built-up area, residential, what kind of thing?
Well, it was a plaza, and, you know, it was a plaza.
You know, sometimes I would like to think that we all try to do the best we can, And sometimes, depending on the area, the time of day, maybe what types of problems have occurred there in the past, the officers have a right to stop and ask somebody what's going on. Having given a reasonable response to that, there's no real reason why anybody should give you a lot of heat about it after that. I'll tell you, as I've been working midnight, so last night, 2 o'clock in the morning, I saw somebody driving a car into a service area or a service station parking lot that I knew was closed. Well, obviously you wouldn't want me to ride by that. You'd want me to see what was going on. And it turns out the people just happened to be dropping off their car because they worked very early, and that was the time they decided to do it. That's okay, but I would be derelict if I just drove by there and never asked anybody anything. Plus, I'd be wondering what was going on. So, like I said, I hope we treat everybody with some respect. If there's times when they don't.
But the only thing was is, you know, my phone is shut off, and that's all I use is payphones because my phone was shut off.
Oh, I can understand that. There's a lot of folks in that situation in this day.
What if I had to make an important phone call?
Yeah.
You know, what if my son?
Well, as I said, once they checked you out and you were there wasn't a problem with what you were doing or where you were, there's no reason why you couldn't continue that. But I'm glad you're watching, and thanks for calling in.
Thank you.
I don't know who else we have, but we're not doing too bad on time, I hope. Oh yeah? Okay. Ken?
Yes.
How are you?
All right. How you guys doing?
Well, not too bad.
Good.
Well, you tell me. You're watching.
Well, I think you're doing fine.
Okay.
Right. I was going to ask a question, you know, about that law that was recently enacted about headlights with windshield wipers.
Uh-huh.
Wasn't there a law already on the books before that that in inclement weather you had to use your headlights?
To see this look? This is the look of stumpment.
I see.
I don't know. Jack?
I think the prior law had to do with visibility. Again, it had to do with a half hour before dusk or half hour after sunset or something like that. 347A, 39347A, which covers the headlights and windshield wipers, is directly saying when your wipers are on, your headlights have to be on. And believe me, it adds the visibility to the visibility of a motor vehicle tremendously.
I'm absolutely for it. You know, what I'm trying to see, when I was raised, I've been a truck driver all my life, and I always, whenever the weather was bad or something, like put the lights on, because even in a light mist, it increases your visibility for oncoming vehicles and everybody else.
Right. No, believe me, you're a very careful driver, but what had happened was a lot of people weren't doing that. They didn't exercise what we would consider good common sense, and like you, and put those headlights on. So now we have a specific statute that requires when the wipers are on, the headlights go on. And so far, it seems to be working. I know myself, I spend a lot of time in a road car, and very few vehicles do not have their headlights on during the rain. And when they don't, of course, then we have to stop them and get wet. And that's not always a pleasant feeling. But we do try to make our people aware, and through whatever means necessary, to get compliance with the statutes.
All right, well, see, I was always, you know, like I said, driving a truck, so I always wanted to see somebody was coming out of a side street, saw me coming, that I didn't run over somebody.
Absolutely.
But thanks a lot, guys, for talking to me, and have a good night.
Thank you. Vern, I'm sorry, did you?
I think we're probably headed in the direction of lights being on at all times anyway. Canada right now, and I would say for the last couple of years, anywhere, several years, in Canada, you have to drive with your lights on.
Yes, some manufacturers are actually manufacturing their vehicles for the lights to stay on all the time. As soon as the ignition turns on, the headlights come on, no matter what time of the day it is.
You know, you still get some resentment from the people. I've had some people in some of the foggy days, you know, the visibility maybe half a block, and you stop them because they have no headlights on because you don't see the car, and they're like, why? It's not nighttime. They don't realize how dangerous it is. You don't see that vehicle coming in their direction.
Well, for years riding a motorcycle, you always had your headlight on because it's just, you want the other person to see you because you're not so much worried about what you're going to do, but what they're going to do.
Absolutely.
And I would have to say I had a little resentment yesterday when I was out jumping my car after forgetting to shut the lights off for a period of a few hours. So it is something that's going to take getting used to for all of us. it's new, and I think it's something that's going to help the accident situation in years to come.
Yeah. Well, I was going to. It was raining the last couple of midnights I was working, so I had to remind all the guys to make sure to.
We don't have that problem, luckily. We don't work those dark shifts. So.
Speak for yourself.
Well, unless something major happens.
Oh, good grief. It must be nice.
Every Friday and Saturday night.
Well, that's DWI.
I don't know where. Whoa, I lost everybody. All the lights. Oh, that's what you think. Hey, folks, it's okay. This is live TV. See, they talk to me in this thing and tell me what's going on, except they lied and said Randy was there, but he went away. It's okay. But like as we were talking about before, the whole concept, I mean, people probably, the most contact they have with the police is motor vehicle summonses, or motor vehicle stops anyway. And probably more than, unless you call the police for your burglary, noise complaint, or anything else, the chances are you're going to run into a police officer during motor vehicle stops. And I think that because we need to do those types of safety and evaluative and sometimes summons giving type activities, that people need to understand why we're doing it. I mean, I don't think there's anyone sitting here who says, boy, I can't wait to go out and bag me 5 drivers. And we realize we're human beings. We live in the real world. We realize that sometimes that costs them money. Aside from the summons, there might be an insurance charge. But some of these things are just, too many people are getting hurt and injured for us to look the other way very often. So some type of enforcement action has to be taken. Believe it or not, we're down about like 2 minutes. So Vern, I'm going to give you like some closing words.
Wow.
And you didn't even have to put on your seatbelt during this show. That was
fortunate.
Good.
Well, the only thing I could possibly touch on quickly is what Jack had mentioned earlier, the fatal accident team that we are working on. And that's a combined effort. It's supported by the Monmouth County Police Chiefs Association, Monmouth County Traffic Officers Association, and more than anything, by the Monmouth County Prosecutor's Office. Prosecutor Kay has given his endorsement, and his office is seeking funding for the program through the Office of Highway Traffic Safety. We're excited about it. We're taking resumes. Jack in particular is taking resumes right now from police officers with training in serious accidents and their investigation.
And Jack, just quickly actually, the whole thing is that with these accidents and the science of everything getting forward, it takes some real specific training to reconstruct and investigate these accidents.
Well, that's true. It takes quite a bit of training, a good understanding of the laws of physics, and a lot of experience with walking accident scenes to determine the cause of some of these accidents. And the idea behind this fatal team is to combine the talents of our many talented officers into one team and to do a good job throughout the county instead of isolated communities doing a good job and some communities not having that expertise.
Well, with that, believe it or not, we're out of time. Bob, and congratulations on your award. Thank you.
Thank you.
We forgot to mention that, I'm sorry. But listen, I want to take this time for you folks at home. Thanks for watching. I thank Chief Todd, Chief Henderson, and Jack Hill for coming down and visiting with us. I appreciate that they came on short notice. I think we had some good informative conversation. I hope we answered some of your questions. In the meantime, be good to yourselves. God bless. Take care. We'll see you next time on NJ Law Live.